Hello, everyone. Corrie here, coming in to do the recording or the channel message for the full moon on March the 25th. It actually starts around tonight, sometimes on the 24th. But this is also huge because we are in eclipse season, and eclipse season does start, we start feeling the energy prior to, but we have a partial lunar eclipse that's happening as well on this full moon on the 25th. And so it's like there's just so many things that are taking place. So exciting, but also so much shit going down. um, so this moon, and where this moon is sitting, this is a Libra moon. Now, I was channeling through this because I didn't even plan on recording this today, but feeling that inspiration to get it recorded. So here we are. So so I was actually just writing. So I have all kinds of writing stuff that I was putting down. So it is a Libra moon. This is a worm moon. And the reason why it is called a worm moon is because how it goes. It's when the bark, so as the trees start to thaw and all the little tiny worms that come out from underneath the bark, as the tree starts to thaw. So there's arrivals. There's arrivals that are beginning to happen. Things are coming back to life, or not come back to life. Things are coming out from hiding. That's more like it. Things are coming out from hiding. And it's also, we've just gone through the spring equinox as well. So we are in the season of spring, if you're right here in Alberta, where I am, and in probably the central part or southern parts a little bit. You may be thinking, well, where's spring? Because today was the first day we've seen blue sky in 4 days. It has been snowing for like 4 or 5 days. It's just disgusting. and I know people say, but we need the moisture. Yes, but I'm ready for spring. And so this being a partial lunar eclipse is not a full lunar eclipse, but it does bring in the way that I'm getting it, the way that it was coming through for me, the message I was getting was that this lunar eclipse, or the way that the partial lunar eclipse is that it kind of gives us a very short period of a breathing space during, and so it's kind of where we can, how do they put it? It's a breathing space. It's where we have to kind of just trust. So somewhere in our lives, the things that we have that we're hoping, anticipating for when we're going through challenging times is sometimes, the only thing left is to breathe and to really, truly just trust the process that, things are going to work out. Things are going to work out well. We don't know why, or how it's going to work, but it's going to work. And so this gives us a little bit of a breathing room to just breathe back and just faith. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I don't know how it's going to be okay. I don't know when it's going to be okay, but it's going to be okay. And that's what I keep getting. It's going to be okay. And I have to tell a little story that goes into this recording of this, because I came in to set up and I went to put my Mary back and put her in place. And the only thing that was left remaining of my Mary right there, my little Mary, was a hand. And one of her hands she had fallen over and broke off. And so I was going to glue it, but the little hand was the only thing that was left there. And now the only little person sitting here today was my granddaughter. And I'm like, where did she put Mary? And I was just getting ready to record, and I had to go on the search for Mary, and I couldn't find Mary anywhere. And then I sat down, I took a breath and thought, okay, I'll just record without Mary. And the moment I sat down and I stopped looking and I stopped searching and I stopped trying to find her, and I stopped even telling myself a story that maybe she's broken somewhere. The moment I stopped all that and I just sat here, I just heard, she's in the box. She's in the box. I picked up the box of my cards, of the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards, and they were a little heavier than normal because there's nothing in the box. And they were a little heavier than normal. and I opened up the box, and there was the Mary. There was everything I was looking for was in the box. and so there's a little bit of a message for you with this moon, is sometimes you have to sit back, because Mary was still there. Mary still had one hand, which I'm the one who broke the Mary hand. But the other, my little goddess, little rock, my divine feminine energy was still there. But this was missing. But in the search for her, I did think about an incense and bringing my incense, and but that was it. I had to stop and I had to sit still. So full moons are very good times to actually sit still. Sit still with self. Take the breath. And this, especially with this lunar eclipse, it's like there just feels like there is a bit of a breathing space in here for you to be able to breathe. But it is a moon that ties into, because it is about major life changes. Now, it is a Libra moon. So this Libra moon is also tied to the Justice card in Tarot. Justice, liberation, right? It's about freedom, and it's about liberating truths. It's about discovering truths. So in discovering truths, sometimes we have to find out the things that we don't really like to hear, but we need to hear. Sometimes that comes up. Or you may be struggling in your own relationships, because Libra is also about, it's in our Libra's associated, so the seventh house. So it's the association to relationships. It is the association to partnerships, love, those things, and how we relate. So this moon is how we relate, we respond, and we react to others. And to ourselves. So even our relationship to ourselves, and where we place ourselves in relationship to how we view ourselves, in relationship with others. So if we see ourselves as the forever victim, then chances are you will be the sorry, something else told me to put my phone in do not disturb, and I didn't do it. And so you will be the forever victim if you see yourself. So where you see yourself in relationship to the stories, or in relationship to others, are you always feeling like you're on the hard done by list? Are you sometimes maybe even a little underhandedly manipulating relationships? Are you using, relationships or people or situations in your life to kind of get ahead? Or is others doing it to you? Sometimes there's people stepping on the heads of other people, thinking that they're climbing that ladder, pushing people down to rise up. And we're really going to see that. And I think that's why this is coming up for me, is that in the healthy form of Libra energy, Libra is a warrior. And Libra is on the, in the zodiac, it's the opposite. I could say it's like your sister, is the Aries. Well, the moon's in Libra. The season right now is in Aries. So we have Libra, when need be, can be so gentle, so soft, but when need be, can really truly call upon using the energy of the Aries. And when you bring Libra and you bring the Aries energy together, you got this burned down, passionate kind of energy. And so it's where revelations appear and truth appears, because there is nothing worse than discovering that you have been manipulated, right? Or that you have been betrayed, or that you have had, that you have been giving your all with a really good intention, to find out somebody else didn't have a good intention, that their intentions were never to be that good to you, that their intentions were all about them. And that may reveal itself in this energy. You may discover that in this energy. And not just you as a person. So it's not just you personally. I mean, on a world scale, because this is in the energy. So when we speak about this, we speak about this being energetically connected to all of this energy here. It's in the stars, it's in the alignment. And so because we have this beautiful, forceful energy, it's having the courage to kind of see things differently. So it also gives us the opportunity for perspectives, new perspectives, to really see what's really going on. And so there is some revealing energy. It can be very revealing, that's coming up. And so how we relate, how we respond, how we react, all of this plays in. And being the Libra and having that Aries energy tied with it does speak. And of course, in liberation freedom is like, if you believe that if you've told yourself a story your whole life that that you've always been forgotten, unseen, whatever that may be, then you may be your shadow essence of yourself, on maybe not even conscious intent, conscious or intentional. You may be always looking to be better. Now, there's nothing wrong with succeeding, successful, or doing better or being better, but we have to look at the ugly side of that. And there is an ugliness to that. And so sometimes our good intentions can become very ugly when we don't realize, or when we start to not be afraid to see what we're actually doing and what's actually happening. So, and they're like, oh shit, that is happening. So that is happening on a bigger scale. So if we look at it, it's the opposites, right? It's the me and the we kind of story. This is really playing out right now. And being that from, and so we speak about this in a lot of spiritual work, is we speak about that going from me and we. And I used to always say, and I remember my psychologist just saying, she said, I'm so curious. Every time you go to talk about, doing something, you always say we, we, we. And I was like, well, I always think of myself as being a part of, there's a force that works with me, and it's my guides, or it's my, it's my guides, or it's my higher self, or whatever that may be. It's what I'm channeling through. And so I just always say we. And then it's had to back it up and come back into the me and make something about me to be able to see something in a new light. So it's not that we're always going to be in the most perfect energy, and we're not going to be perfect, because there's a beautiful imperfection that really ties around all of this. And so the beautiful imperfections is that we can see the imperfections of ourselves, and we can accept that they exist, and then we can see it in others, and we can accept that exist. But we still don't have to accept shitty behavior. We still don't have to accept the behaviors and patterns that are on repeat, that when someone has an unhealthy motive, that you have to keep allowing that to continue, right? Whatever that may be. So it is out there. It is in the energy. So this moon, this full moon, most full moons, it plays up with the shadow, right? It brings up and out the worst. It brings up and out the crazy. It brings up and out the unexpected. It brings up the parts of the buried self that you've bared witness to before, or that you've been through, that you've suppressed, the areas that need attention. So where we need that attention, right? So that we can set a clear intention moving forward when we come into a new moon as well. And so there's something so creepy about this as well. There's a real creepy, sinister kind of energy around here that is just, can feel it moving around. It's like the slimy lawyer. And not all lawyers are, don't get me wrong, not saying that. But in a case of in a court case, when somebody is so guilty, but they still have to be represented, and it's not, and so some people are hired to be able to just do justice, right? But other people. So call Sal. Instantly, I just got this. Remember the show Call Sal? And it came from the lawyer from Breaking Bad. Yes, I'm using Breaking Bad right now. It's coming from the Breaking Bad movie, right? Like that lawyer, that kind of, wormy, slimy kind of energy, just, he becomes likable in some way. People love the character because you just never know what he's up to. He never tells a real full truth. Everything is buried in half truths, lies. What's his next step? He's always thinking about how it's going to benefit him and what he's getting from it, and always making it look like he's doing something good. Always, it's like, oh, I'm doing this for you. It's good for you. But so underhandedly, and everything is still always for him. And it's only in the very, very end of the Cell series of where he finally, because he finds something, because he found someone that he loves, and he even destroyed that. Then at the end is the only time of when he does something actually right. And it's because he had that consciousness coming online. He became aware of what it was costing, and that he just kind of probably couldn't live with it anymore. So, that's the kind of energy I am picking up around this moon. Is people may begin, you may see that kind of really creepy kind of slime ball kind of energy coming from the dark, but you might also see some energies on a global level, maybe on a bigger scale than we could imagine, finally doing something right. And that is the evolution of the ego, right? That is that sense of when you finally surrender, you finally recognize you've finally been caught up. It's all been caught up on. It's all there. It's all looking. It's like, and so all that's been happening on a world scale is really revealing a lot of truths and new perspectives and opportunities. And it is about the justice. It's like, as in the human race, we deserve to be showed dignity. We deserve to, on a world scale, we all deserve that dignity. We deserve to know truth. We deserve to know all sides of things so that we can think for ourselves. So someone's going to hand you something and then say, this is for your good, or they're going to say, I'm giving you this and I'm doing this for you and I'm in your life and I'm helping you, and whatever that may be, because I also want to build me up. And then you got the choice to decide, right? And so if somebody steps into a relationship or a partnership or a love interest, whatever that may be, and the motive is if their thoughts are one thing, but they're saying something else, it's not speaking a real truth. Because there's always about, did you ask the other person how they would feel about that? And I'll often say this in people who will justify, the affairs, or they'll say, well, I just didn't want to tell. I don't want to hurt the other person if I told them. So it's just better if I just keep it like this. And I'm like, no, you need to look at this differently. Because is it not hurting more for them to walk around believing that they're living one life, but ultimately all these people around know a different story? And so they are then kind of being, talked about, or, people are feeling all this compassion for them, but they're not knowing the truth. So tell yourself the truth. The reason why sometimes if somebody's cheating, they're not telling their partner why they're cheating, is because they don't want to have to deal with the consequences. They don't want to have to, they don't want to have to get themselves in that trouble. They don't want the endings. They don't want the breakdowns. But yet everything has already ended because the loyalty, the trust, all of those things have already gone. They're not there no more. Don't exist. And so these are all these half-hearted truths that I speak about in everything of more than existing. It's so easy to tell ourselves a lie and convince ourselves that that's the truth. So we've been bearing witness to that as if we've been in this marriage with on a world scale with politicians, with social media and all of those places, and we get fed lies as truth, half-hearted truths, opinions, and somebody else's perspectives, and all ties into the opinions and perspectives and views and everything else. But when we stop and we pause and just say, wouldn't it be easier? So back, if we're being cheated by this, we deserve that truth, right? And so back into a relationship thing was, is to say, well, maybe you need to be very honest with everybody involved, including yourself. And when you can be honest with yourself and be true to that self, then you can be honest with everyone else. Ask them how they feel. Give someone else the opportunity to say, well, you know what? I think maybe I'll stay, or maybe I won't. But let them decide if they're going to stay, if they're not. Same with our government, our systems on a big level. It's like, yes, on a social media, yeah, we know what's going on, but yet we're still here. What are we in relationship with? Think about it. Think about it in a different way. But it's a platform, it's a place for us to be. So what is it costing? What do you sacrifice and what does it cost you? What truths are there? And so this is, we're going to see a lot more being revealed around that, because someone who has a business, who had a very, very successful business prior to the shutdowns and social media and those things, I just remember taking a business course. And the first thing she said I'll hold on to this forever. Don't ever put your business in the hands of social media. Because the moment you put your business into the hands of a social media, then they are in charge of whether or not your business will succeed or grow, because it will all depend on whether or not they want to promote you. Whereas if you run everything through website, through your own, that you maintain that sense of control within yourself. And so there's an authority figure, right? And maintaining that sense of self. How much can I step into this? How much can I step out? How much of this is my truth? And so we're in a lot of relationships in our lifetime, and we're in a relationship with all that is happening around us, and it's energy. And so there's the shadowy, creepy that I speak about is the things that we're probably going to see unfolding in, beyond, in this full moon, in this eclipse season. There is, like I said, 2024 was not the year when everything comes booming back, is when everything gets that sense of restoring, that hope, that determination to keep fighting, to keep doing what we need to do. That beautiful Libra as a warrior, blended with its Aries energy, is because we deserve this beautiful life, because we deserve to have this loyalty, this honesty, this beautiful sense of freedom. We deserve to be free, right? And so we deserve to be free and to think for ourselves. And the more that we have existed in here, the more you're seeing people that didn't want boxes, people who were trying to get out of systems and boxes, create boxes in the places where we had freedom, because the old brain is about getting back to comfort. So it's about, we need an association for this, and we need this, and we need that, and we need. So here we are, let's just box and box and box and box and box and box, divide. Whereas we can all be like nature. We can all coexist in such a way that if we can be truly, authentically honest and real with ourselves, and we could just, maybe ask. And so you're going to see opinions and boxes and all of those things just get bigger and bigger and bigger right now. But it's going to just, there's a top blowing. It's like a big ass tower moment. At the top, the light is it's already broken. And now the light is coming in, but there's nowhere left to hide. So some things need to get ugly before they get more beautiful. It's like spring. So it's thawing outside. It's thawing. It's still ugly. It's brown. You still see all the dead leaves. There's still snow occasionally falling. Expect the unexpected. But in the meantime, under the ground, things are starting to happen, right? And so it's not pretty. It's brown out there where I am. But the buds are starting. There's things that are starting. Birds are returning that have been gone away. The geese are coming back. You can hear more and more active noises in nature. Like there's just so many little things that are beauty is happening, but it's the breakthrough. And things will start breaking through the ground. Things will start coloring up. Things will become more beautiful. We've got to travel through this energy, got to travel through where we are. And this is what we have following us through as we go through here. So thinking about back to that Libra for a moment, and back to this moon and back to where we are. So, as we travel through, a good thing to really look at is if you have Libra in your chart, where you have Libra. And so Libra is tied into the 7th house, but where you might have Libra in your chart, where it sits in your houses. And now I'm not an astrologer, but where that may be for you. So I pulled the 6 of Pentacles. And this is tied into, that balancing act of kind of giving and receiving, because we have a massive, massive political energetic thread also happening here in Canada with the carbon tax. And that take, right? And so there is a unrealistic plan in action. And I wouldn't be able to engage in it too heavily, but just energetically and how it's being tied into the energy. And it's bringing about a lot of fear stories. But if a government takes everything from its people, the people don't even have anything left to give. And so it crumbles all the other little things that are around it. And so bring that into ourselves. If we don't create that balance within our lives, if we can't create that space and that balance within where we are, have our feet on the ground, really look at where we're taking things from, what we're pulling from, what resources within ourselves we're accessing. Hand up versus hand out. And so that we can start to believe that there's a way up. And that even though this energy speaks of, this could be where endings are in relationships, truth are being revealed, but sometimes that helps to restore balance. Sometimes if the things that weigh you down and are the things that are secret, the things that are holding you down, then that keeps you from being able to have a healthy relationship. So even with yourself. And so this is where we see where we're going to start to see a change in tides and a shift that has to happen, that will begin to happen, that brings forth change. Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy energy. It's hard to be able to give a whole lot more to what that has. But that's kind of, if I can give it to you in a way that kind of makes sense, that's the way I'm getting it right now. And that's the way that it's coming. So I just wanted to share that for this moon. I just felt the need to come in and give that message and share that message out. And depending on how much you have been working on yourself, where this actually sits with you. I just have to say that, Because for some people, it's a beginning stage, for other people, middle, for other people, we're at the end, but it's in the layers, but it's also in in where we have segments of our life, or where we have these categories within our lives, where we have these bits and these pieces. And sometimes we think, sometimes people may believe, want to see we're living. I only want to see the beautiful things. So I have the best relationships. I have the best, the best, the best, the best. Is it the best? Or is it that everyone just either lets one person have all their own way, or you make sure everything goes your way, that everything is your way? Or, right? Or is people afraid to tell you a truth? So then, because they don't want to upset things, which is it? Which is it? Is it really that it's a beautiful life, or that everyone lets you have your own way? Or do you let someone else in your life have that way? So if we just all sat back and just said, you know what, just go ahead, just do this, do that, we'll just accept it, what kind of world would we live in? So it's a real liberation and awakening for a lot of people. Just can't sit back and just say that's okay if it's not okay. I can't pretend. So it's hard to hide. And so all masks are being really, truly shattered, destroyed, brought down. And it's bringing up, it's bringing up some beautiful, it's bringing up some beautiful energy as well. That just opens up to greater communication, greater ways to associate and connect to each other, to not to be disconnected and disassociating from, things and people that we love. Yeah, I feel like that's, what I wanted to do. I just want to sit here and put my hand on my heart and not say a word. So I'm going to just ask for just a moment, if before you leave at the end, where we are right now, that you all just take your hand and just bring to your heart, and just let your body just sway a little bit, and just take that deep breath in and breathe out. And just think about all the people in your life that you're just so thankful for and that you just really appreciate. And then I invite you to include yourself in there. And then see all the love that's in the world. The world is still filled with love, and not the love of power, but the power of love. And breathe into that love. And as you breathe into that love, imagine now, as you breathe in, you're growing that love inside of you, cultivating love. And as you breathe out, you're sending love out into the world. Imagine love becoming a light and just spreading out into your space, out into your family, your people in your life. We share that love. Feel it joining a meeting with others, connecting. Because sometimes one of the most forgotten things is that we forget to say, I love you. I appreciate you. And sometimes we can be mad and upset, or so in our heads, that we forget that we actually do care for somebody. Unconditional love is very difficult. And with that, we'll just be silent for just a moment and just send that love into the world. Be love. May there be light. May we always see the light. May we always know the light. May you have a blessed full moon. I send you so much love. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Much love. Bye-bye.